Let's go over how to identify a non-compliant finding. Once you log in, you'll be taken to the home page of the mobile app. To begin an inspection, select Start Inspection. Select the checklist that you'd like to use, and then select the subject of your inspection in the next field. Begin typing the name of the subject you wish to inspect. When you see the information is correct, select Let's Go to launch the inspection. If this is your first time using this checklist, you'll need to select the categories. To select the categories, select the three-dot menu in the top right corner. If performing this inspection by yourself, we recommend selecting all categories, even if some of the categories do not apply to the particular space or department. You can delete questions that do not apply. Once in the checklist, you'll see the name of the space you're inspecting at the top of the blue banner. Then you'll see the reference ID. It's an optional field that you can help associate this inspection with an external database. The Notes section can be for a checklist or the inspection as a whole, but not an individual finding. The information will not be in the Analytics section, but it might be a good place to put overall comments about what you saw during your inspection. To add a note, select the blue plus button on the right. You'll be able to select the Comments field and type or dictate your comments. First, tap on your mobile device. You'll see a microphone embedded into the keyboard. Tap to speak your notes or type in using the keyboard. You can select images from your existing photo roll using the photo icon on the right. You can also take a new picture by selecting the camera icon and taking a picture. If you'd like these photos and the note to be visible to the person receiving the report, then you can keep the note listed as public. If this note is internal for use only by inspectors and administrators on your inspection team, you can make the note private. When you're done, select Save. Getting into the checklist itself, you can go through and answer the questions in any order. There are 3 answer types that will always be present and 1 optional answer type, depending on how your checklist was set up. The check indicates compliance. The X indicates non-compliance. The NA represents not applicable. And on some checklists, you'll see NO for not observed. When you select the check mark, you'll see Item 1 appears. You can answer each question more than once if that's appropriate for your checklist. When you select NA, you'll see another item, and you can scroll down and answer questions in any order that you prefer. For lengthy checklists, our recommendation is that you go through and identify the non-compliant findings first and then respond to the compliant and not applicable questions later. Let's go over how to identify a non-compliant finding. When you select the X, you will be taken to the Detail page. The first field you'll see on the page is the Public Comments area. Just like the notes, you can tap into this field and then speak or type your comments. If you'd like to make a note that is visible only to the inspection team, you can put in private comments. You can add an image by selecting the camera or the photo icon. You can add up to 10 images for each finding. Depending on how your checklist is set up, you may have a location field. You can select that location field and select the room or floor in which this finding occurred. Some checklists have tags associated with them, so you can select the Tags field and select an appropriate tag from the drop-down menu. And then, if available, there's a routing group option. This will assign a particular finding to a person or group named in the routing group. You can select this, and they will receive a notification when you've submitted the report that they've been assigned to this finding to resolve it. When you're done making your selection, select Done. If the issue was corrected before the end of your inspection, you can toggle on the Corrected On-Site toggle. This means that the finding will be recorded as a non-compliant finding, but there will be no action for the responsible person to take for this particular finding. If the finding is an elevated issue or depending on how your checklist is set up, you may have Requires Verification turned on. This is something that can be manually turned on or off for all findings, and the implication of this toggle is that when the responsible person receives the report, they will not be able to resolve the finding themselves. An inspector named on the report or the administrator will need to approve the resolution. This question may include a default action plan. This is information about what you, as the inspector, expect the responsible person to do in response to this question to resolve or fix the issue. The field here is editable. You can tap into it and change the information provided, or you can leave it as is. As you scroll down, you'll see the final field is Days to Resolve. This is the number of days you expect this finding to be resolved. Some checklists have this feature, but yours may not. You can always make changes to the number of days to resolve. This field triggers notifications to help remind and prompt the responsible person to resolve their findings on time. When you're done reading through and updating this finding, select Save in the top right. You'll see there is now an item within a red X and a little icon indicating there are comments and a photo associated with this finding. If you want to review a finding that you've put in, you can select the item that says Item 1 and be brought to the detail page. You can edit the text, and when done, select Save. If you'd like to provide comments for a finding, mark the finding as either compliant or not applicable. If you'd like to add a comment, select on the Item 1, type in Comments, Add Images, and select the location. This is useful for best practices and other alternative question types. You may not want to answer all of the questions while you're on your mobile device. That's perfectly fine, but we do recommend that all questions are answered or responded to before you submit the report. When you're on your mobile device, you can submit directly from your mobile device to the responsible person. Scroll to the top of each category. The categories are listed in blue, and you'll see a three-dot menu next to each category. To help save time, when you select the three-dot menu, you can either set the remaining responses to compliant or not applicable. Inspections performed on a mobile device do not need internet while conducting the inspection. However, you will need connectivity to start an inspection or to submit the report. If the inspection is now complete on my mobile device and you're ready to either submit it or move to a desktop to continue refining the report, select Save in the top right corner. If working in an area with no reception, select the inspection you started while on Wi-Fi, then go to the three-dot menu on the right and select Edit. You can then continue working on the report with or without cell service. Once you've answered all of the questions, you can submit as a draft or completed. In this example, you'll see a green checkmark when it has successfully been uploaded to the desktop. Please note that any report on your phone is not connected to the cloud, so it's not backed up. If anything happens to your mobile device before you submit the report as complete or in progress, the reports will not be saved because they are only stored locally on the device. So make sure to move your reports to the desktop or submit them as completed to avoid data loss. For additional training materials, visit our training website at riskandsafety.com/training. If you need assistance with any of our software solutions, please contact service@riskandsafety.com.